Hi, witches. You are again down with me, Anarchy. This week, Maidens and Magic is going to do The Exorcist. Wait for it, the series. I just found out there was a series exactly, 2 days ago. So I believe it came out. Let's just take a look. When did it air first? On 2017. Okay, 2016. 27. So to be fair, was in Germany. Also, to be fair, I'm not like a huge fan of the Exorcist franchise. I know that might be blasphemous to some people. I like the original. I think I saw the second one and was like, I know there have been others since then that I have not seen. But I have to tell you, my real reason for wanting to do this is Geena Davis. When I did Beetlejuice and didn't really talk about the movie, and talked mostly about necromancy and Catherine O'Hara, I realized as a glaring oversight. I covered Winona as Maidens, or Mothers and Crones. I covered Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hara. Catherine O'Hara was the real inspiration for that. I was just feeling her and really digging on Moira and wanted to do something honoring her. I just didn't even get to Geena Davis, and it is certainly not for lack of love. Geena Davis is just a goddess. Look at her. She's so tall. She's 6 feet tall. She's just she's an amazing woman that I want to tell you a little bit about right now. So actually, I'm going to start here. She was born in 56, if that matters to you. I think most famously, anyone, if you were alive in the 80s and the 90s, you probably knew that she was married for a while to Jeff Goldblum, because he is a delicious, beautiful freak. And they were such a handsome, striking, bizarre couple that they were just, I think they got a lot of attention, especially from people like us. So I'm going to talk about a couple of her films here quickly. Thelma and Louise. Here's the thing about Thelma and Louise. Let's just talk for a minute about Thelma and Louise, because honestly, this is a great fucking movie. But really, a testament to Geena Davis. Had this movie not starred, had Sarandon and Davis not worked together and to get so well together, this movie could have been a fucking disaster. I mean, come on, honestly, it would have been like a Lifetime movie that you watched when you were really on your period, or during a bad breakup, or just like shoveling ice cream and popcorn into your face and crying, and like, wow, it would have been horrible. But they're so good in it, and they're so good together. And honestly, she's really so good in A League of Their Own, which I hope would have done well anyway because of Rosie O'Donnell and Tom Hanks. Even Madonna is really good in this one. And I say that I'm a huge Madonna fan. Oh, I am. It turns me into a gay boy every time. But notoriously, she's not the best actress always. We love her anyway because she's fucking Madge. She's Madge. Geena Davis has actually a bachelor's degree from Boston University, but I don't know if she ever really got to put that to use. I think she just started modeling pretty much right away. It says here, the Zoli Modeling Agency. So that was in 79. And then she did Tootsie in 82. So she parlayed that, and of course she was a model, but she parlayed that into an acting career rather quickly. I read somewhere, I feel like somewhere it says Boston University, here we go. This is the interesting stuff. Her mother was a teacher's assistant. Her father was a civil engineer and church deacon, and they were both from a small town in Vermont. But she actually did a foreign exchange in Sweden and became, is that fucking with the light? I guess it kind of is. And she became fluent in Swedish, which is hot. Multilingual or bilingualism is very sexy to me every time. She got a bachelor's degree in drama. Okay, for some reason I thought maybe it was comparative religion. I don't know who I was thinking of, or maybe it was wishful thinking. But anyway, she's, like I said, started modeling pretty much right away. She, one of her first films, or her first film, I guess, was Tootsie, which is really, it's still one of those movies that if you're studying film, it's one of the best screenplays ever written, allegedly. Yep, and she's done a lot of awesome work. She was in a bunch of fun TV shows in the 80s, like Family Ties, which I did watch because I was in love with Mallory Keaton. Justine Bateman really was one of my first crushes. Beetlejuice launched them, all of them, really into this cult star status. Well, and let's talk about The Fly. Even The Fly did too. Oh, well, no, I just skipped a bunch of things. Sorry. Transylvania 65000, if you've never seen it, is pretty goofy. She plays a nymphomaniac vampire along her future husband, Jeff Goldblum. And then what was the other one that I was thinking of? There was The Fly, and then Earth Girls Are Easy. Can we just take a minute to appreciate this movie? It's just a cult classic, funny as fuck, twisted out there, like just, it's a musical sci-fi romantic comedy. It's everything. It has everything. It's everything you could ever want if you're really stoned. This is for sure. It's with Goldblum, Julie Brown, Damon Wayans. Why can't I say their name all of a sudden? I've heard it a million times. They're the In Living Color guys. The whole family, aren't there like 20 of them? I think they are all awesome too. And Jim Carrey, who later would also be in Living Color. Yeah, so really great film. If you for some reason never seen it and you want to watch a good Geena Davis movie, I'm going to refer you to that one. She did take a huge hiatus. I'm sure everybody noticed, like in the 90s, she just kind of stopped working. And what she said here about it, where did she say? I think she said the roles just start when she hit 40. What did she say? I don't know where I read that, but she said when she hit 40, the roles just stopped coming, which is, oh, here you go. By the mid to late 90s, Davis's film career had become less noteworthy and critical acclaim had waned. In 2016 interview with Vulture, which is not a magazine I'm familiar with, but it sounds awesome. She recalled film roles really did start to dry up when I got into my 40s. If you look at my IMDb, until that age, I made roughly one film a year. But then with my 40s, I made one movie, Stuart Little, which I've never seen. She said she was getting offers, but for nothing really meaty or interesting like she did in her mid-30s. So, and that's a thing. It's a thing. Females, it's really rough. Female actors lose their fuckability, as it's called, once they hit 40, whereas men somehow are considered more distinguished and whatever. It grosses me out, really, because guys really let themselves go and they get fat and they don't, and not all of them, but of course. And then women, the standard is so much higher. It's completely unfair. Yeah, so she's won a lot of awards. She's been married a couple times. She's married to this guy now. Who is he? He's a plastic surgeon, but to be honest, I don't think Geena Davis has had any plastic surgery. She looks like she's aging really gracefully, but then again, maybe he's just really good. What I really like about her is that she really is an activism against gender discrimination. She does all the stuff, for gender equality, pay equality, to prohibit gender discrimination in the educational institutions, which is huge, I can tell you from personal experience. And here is one of the coolest things I've ever read about any actress I've ever done. She was on the U.S. She was one of 300 women who vied for semifinals in the U.S. Olympic archery team to participate in the Sydney 2000 Summer Olympics. She placed 24th. She didn't qualify for the team, but she participated as a wild card entry in the Sydney International Golden Arrow competition. Can we just say Amazon? Hallelujah. This woman is truly an Amazon warrior. I love it. I love everything about it. I looked here at her filmography, and she really hasn't done as many movies as I thought. It's weird though, because she's still totally like this iconic diva, even though she had that long hiatus and everything. I don't know. She's done more TV than I realized, but a lot of that again was, you know, up until the 90s, and then there it kind of slowed. Anyway, she's been in some music videos. Music videos. She's been in the music videos. She's won a lot of awards. Commander in Chief. What the hell is that? Oh, it's the name of the work. She's been nominated a ton of times. She hasn't won that many times, I guess. I have not seen The Accidental Tourist. Is that something I need to see? I don't know. It might be. Anyway, so getting into this version of The Exorcist that came out in 2016, I have to tell y'all, I went into it with really, really low expectations. And, you know, that first episode, I've only seen the first two of the first season. So I can't really give like a super 100% recommendation, but I have to tell you, the first episode I thought was amazing. My mind was blown. The second one was good. It was solid, but it had a much, much different feel to it. The first one opened up and they maintained that aesthetic. And I think the establishing scene is actually the stairway, the actual Exorcist stairway, which I should know because that is here in DC and I've been there a few times, but it can be hard to tell sometimes with the perspective of the camera. At any rate, I don't know who this Jeremy Slater person is who created it. That guy, okay. The Umbrella Academy, I know a lot of people like and Fantastic Four. Okay. I'm not really familiar with him, but that's okay. I don't need to be. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Who knows? We're learning things as we go. So the whole establishing scene and the atmosphere and the aesthetic of what is breaking in my house right now. Oh my God, did you guys hear that? We're having a windstorm. Something on my balcony just got smacked around. Anyway, it's got the long shots and the shadows and like the moody kind of lighting that it's really aesthetically, it's really, really pretty. And I think very true to the original film as far as my recollection goes. I've seen that original film quite a few times. And they kept that director, so I had to look this up. So the guy who directs the first one, his name is Rupert Wyatt. And he kept doing these, what I call Polanski shots, where it's like a long alleyway or hallway. And he's following with like, it's got to be like handheld camera. And he's behind them, but you can see the length of the hallway or the pathway that they're on, and it gives you that feeling that you're watching something that you shouldn't be watching, like you're walking behind the actors and you're kind of spying on them, which I think is such a really cool aesthetic. But then the second one really lost that flavor, and so I was looking at it, and as you can see here, every single episode, every single of the 10 and season 1, it is a different director and writer combination. We have a couple people who direct a couple, and a couple people quit doing that. I'm not trying to put my thing on. I'm not trying to put my thing on you. And we have a couple who, do we have a repeat writer? Jeremy Slater writes a couple. Yeah, it's just, there's no consistency. And I think like, even though this guy writes or directs twice, he directs things written by 2 different people. And it's kind of like series 1 and 2 of Twin Peaks, where you had really a rotation of directors, which a lot of times was really cool, like Caleb Deschanel and some of these people that really, really good work. But most of those episodes were only written by Frost, Lynch, and then Ingalls, and who's the other guy that I'm thinking of? There's one more guy, and I think another woman who writes a couple, but the writing pretty much, was pretty much limited to a few people. The directors were plentiful, but this is kind of, I'm wondering if it's why the show didn't succeed. And I'm also wondering how it's going to lend itself to the plot points, because I've noticed inconsistencies between the first and second episode where I said, I'm like, wait, why in the first episode is the dad totally like a potato, as the daughter calls him? Like he's seems to be suffering some kind of brain injury or something. But then the second episode, he's fine and he's completely ambulatory and articulate. And you're like, wait, what happened? And then suddenly there's the introduction of this older man who I think is supposed to I think it's supposed to be Satan himself, kind of beckoning to her, or it's the romance of possession, I guess. Maybe it's I don't know if he's going to continue into later episodes or if he too is going to be a one-off. Oops, I did not mean to do that either. I'm not sure what just happened. So I don't really know where it's going to go, and plot-wise, if it's really going to if plot-wise it's going to get too erratic to be like, it might get erratic enough to be annoying. I can't vouch for it yet, but so far I'm finding it super intriguing. And I know it's a little bit strange to do a series, first of all, and then one that I haven't completely seen. But again, it really was just an homage to Geena Davis, because I felt so shitty for omitting her from the Beetlejuice dialogue. She is pretty awesome. We like her. We do. So I'm going to stop there with that. All right, witches, let's talk about shamanism, shall we? Now, why, you might be asking, why, Anne, would you not take the obvious bullet train to like Catholic town and start talking about the patriarchy and the stranglehold of medieval Catholicism on the land and all of its evils? I love talking about that. I really do. I could talk about it ad nauseum, but I don't want to bore you. I want to diversify my conversations with you and make them more enriching. Also, I like to take these unexpected twists and turns. I'm not going to lie. I have long thought that, and it's one of those things that's kind of hard to articulate, but I've long thought that there was some kind of a tenuous connection between sorcery, Satanism, and shamanism. And I've said this almost exactly, so I'm kind of blown away, because at least one other human being also has had this thought, that there are that there are similarities between aspects of Satanism and demonology, especially when you get into the exorcism aspect of it, and shamanism in particular. Well, why is that, you might query away, I would say, and allow me to pontificate. We are going to talk about ethnobotany a little bit here in a moment. Okay, so shamanism in general, we're looking at a very large scope practice here that is very diverse, and yet is unified by some commonalities. They intrinsically have a lot of the same features from region to region. But shamanism, my friends, it's near ubiquitous. I say that about a lot of things, but I mean it. To give you an idea here, really what I'm talking about, these are all of the places where shamanism is practiced. So from Alaska through North America, down into Central and South America a little bit, not too prevalent in South America, but then jumping over to Africa, we have the West, East, and South of Africa represented. European, I don't know. I know that I knew at least one woman who was a self-proclaimed white shaman in Germany. So there's that. Up into the Nordic territory as well, going over through Russia, Siberia, even to the Arctic Circle, through Mongolia. And here, the Siberian Mongolian shamanism is actually uses a lot of Buddhist techniques and practices. There's a very large, it's a pretty fucking significant Buddhist influence on the shamanism practice there that I will mention briefly. But I'm telling you, so shamanism, like Wicca, is just one of those things that I can talk, there are many conversations to be had. There are so many facets, so many interesting niches and little different aspects and things to focus on that it will be recurring for sure. I will focus on different aspects at different points, not getting into the Buddhist aspect of shamanism today, but you bet your sweet bippy. I don't even know what that means. You bet your sweet bottom dollar. I don't know where these things come from. Anyway, oh, the bottom dollar would be from Annie. See, there you go. My love of musical theater has triumphed once more. Anyway, we even have Asia. I'm actually really surprised to see a presence in China and Central Asia like that, because the Chinese are notorious. They're just notorious atheists. They don't, there aren't even many Chinese Christians. It's just one place that is pretty fucking secular. Korea does not surprise me. I never would have said that Shinto was shamanism, but it does deal with ancestry, and some people would say ancestral worship. I would say the honoring of the ancestors is what I would say. Yeah, then you see it all the way here through East Asia, Cambodia, so forth, through Indonesia, even into Papua New Guinea and down into Australia, although not in New Zealand. So Aborigines here, it bothers me a little that this is all called neo-shamanism or I don't know, shamanism, because we still do have the Native American church in America or throughout the States is still huge, y'all. We still have tons of indigenous people that are living on the res, and they do practice everything. We have they have medicine men, they have shamans. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a slap in the face. I just want to acknowledge that. But anyway, talking about shamanism, this is going to be hard to get through quickly. I'm going to have to skip over a lot. And again, there will be other things that we'll come back to. But the reason why I'm making this connection is because shamans are said to have the ability to travel through different dimensions. So I think this page here, I think this was it. I don't remember which one it was, described it the best. No, it must have been this one. Anyway, the way that I learned it, we can look at photos while I talk. The way I learned it was basically they see this world and then a world above and a world below. Typically the world above is for ancestors, human ancestors, and the world below will be for like animal spirits. Now, Native American shamanistic practices draw heavily on totem animals. It's a huge part of that. We're going to skip that for a minute. A huge part of shamanism is dealing with totem animals. I actually work with the medicine deck. I'm quite familiar with it. It's one of the 3 that I use in my personal practices. And I thought we could click through. It's just going to let us see the one photo and that's it. Yeah, so basically, shamans can go. Now, here's the thing with there's some generic kind of, and this is where we get, sadly, where I guess it is the neo-shamanism, where you hear, well, the shamans could go to the world above and the world below, as well as, traversing across this physical dimension that we know. They can go above and below. Below sometimes is unfortunately described as like black shamanism, or the evil spirits would reside there. Thusly, the good ones reside in the realm above. So it gives it kind of mirrors a heaven and hell thing, which I just hate that Christianity, pervades everything. I'm quite sure that shamans don't think of it as heaven and hell, although they might have to go above or below to get, benevolent or malevolent spirits, depending on what they're dealing with at the time. So in other words, shamans have a lot. And I mean, like, a lot of duties. There are a lot of abilities that a shaman has to have. And really, they have to be able to transverse supernatural realms. They have to be able to interpret dreams. They have to be able to heal. They have to be able to, they have to be able to lead people to and from, and spirits to and from, between dimensions, from one dimension to a next. the medicine of a shaman is heavy, y'all. There's a lot of work there. A lot of things that they do are, to be an expert at any one of them would be pretty phenomenal, but they have to master them all. So for example, here are some of the beliefs held by shamans or I don't know, people who practice shamanism. Spirits exist and they play important roles. The shaman can communicate with the spirit world. Spirits can be benevolent or malevolent. Shaman can treat sickness caused by malevolent spirits. The shaman can employ trances, incite visionary ecstasies, go on vision quests. They can leave their body to enter supernatural worlds for answers. They can evoke animals, images, spirit guides, totem animals, omens. They can perform other forms of divination. They can scry, throw bones, runes. I want to add too, this is a little bit narrow in scope. Of course, in Asia, tea leaves are going to be a practice, and different things there. So this is, I think this one is, I don't know, it doesn't really say. This is, again, very general, right? It's hard to pin it down when it necessarily varies so much from place to place and culture to culture. But so shamans definitely can reach the dead and also can exorcise malevolent spirits from people or sicknesses that those malevolent spirits are causing, these afflictions. They look first to the spiritual realm. So interestingly, I mean, they're really, they are performing exorcisms among many other duties. This is one thing that they should have expertise at. Belief in witchcraft and sorcery. I like this part down here, known as brujeria. I'm guessing brujeria because I know bruja is witch in Spanish. Anyway, other societies assert that all shamans have the power to both cure and kill. Those with shamanic knowledge usually enjoy great power and prestige in the community, but they may also be regarded suspiciously or fearfully as potentially harmful to others. By engaging in their work, a shaman is exposed to significant personal risk as shamanic plant materials can be toxic. Spells are commonly used in an attempt to protect against these dangers. Spells, also circle casting, like basic kind of protection spells and circles sometimes are used by shamans. Literal circles are used, like with people drumming there. So we even see kind of a connection to Wicca and to other forms of our traditional, like pagan, pre-Christian based beliefs or practices. I did want to say first, before I want to make a connection between shamans and medicine men, but I wanted to look at the etymology first. I kind of skipped over that because I got excited and I started talking a mile a minute. I will say the etymology is interesting because the Tungistic world, which is not, that was a new word to me. This is Eastern Siberia, Manchuria, and that area. But then we also see like Sanskrit there, which would be Indian. So, there's a lot of the Manchu language here. So there's a lot of debate about the real origin of the word itself. Again, lending credency to the fact that it is very old, in fact, prehistoric and ubiquitous. It is really widespread. What I wanted to draw your attention to were these definitions. This I found very interesting. So there are 4 definitions. The first one, anybody who can contact a spirit world while in an altered state of consciousness. That's a lot of people I know, and I'm not being snide. I'm quite sincerely. The second definition is to refer to those who contact a spirit while in an altered state at the behest of others. Okay. The third, actually, and this is where we can see the conflation of different things and why it kind of does tie into sorcery and Satanism. So, all right, bouncing right back. The third definition attempts to distinguish shamans from other magico-religious. I've never seen that word either. Magico-religious specialists who are believed to contact spirits such as mediums, witch doctors, spiritual healers, or prophets. Do you see how the lines are blurred? We've got witch doctors, so voodoo, spiritual healers, so that could be any kind of neo whatever, neo anything. That could be even be evangelism. I mean, aren't they always laying their hands on people, curing the, oh my God, you know, casting out the demons, to prophets, prophet, gosh, that's wide open. So anyway, claiming that shamans undertake the same, to undertake some particular technique not used by the others. What that is contested. So lines are necessarily already blurred right there. The fourth definition uses shamanism to refer to the indigenous religions of Siberia and the neighboring parts of Asia. So yeah, there's some people believe that these Siberian or Mongolian shamans, I know I keep saying shaman and shaman interchange because I'm not sure, and I've heard it both ways, and potato. People are like, potato, you fucking idiot. Who the fuck says potato? All right. Anyway, so some people believe this to be the original form of shamanism because it really incorporated so many rituals and traditions from Buddhism, which is widely regarded to be one of the oldest religions, I think second only to Hinduism, you know. So not only, I'm talking about, I mean, of course, we had religion, there was Zoroastrianism before that, but religion's still practiced. In other words, I would guess there might still be, well, they're not really Zoroastrians anymore. There's still Persian fire jumping and things that have been incorporated into their current religion, much like pagan stuff has been incorporated. Did I say corporated before? Incorporated into Christianity. Bastardization. I steal your culture. No. Okay. So no, things are appropriated and misappropriated sometimes. So this is the one dive off I'm going to do into. So I said before, generically speaking, Black shamanism would be dealing with malevolent spirits. White shamanism would be dealing with benevolent spirits. Here in this form of shamanism, the distinction is not white and black, but yellow and black. Yeah, Black shamanism here, apparently. Also, white shamans deal with the upper world. Black shaman's evil spirit. Yellow shaman is supposed to be, so I guess we have three categories to be fair. Yellow deals with traditions from Buddhism. White with spirits of the upper world, which I don't know, benevolent, and black with evil. So that's all I'm going to say about that branch of shamanism. Now we're going to, you know, because for some people this is it, and it will be an interesting future show of, it will find its way back to us, or us back to it. I promise. We will talk about how it intersects with Buddhism because that is really interesting. But since I'm looking at it in a wider perspective, shamanism, so they are believed to use a lot of entheogens. What is an entheogen? Anything that alters your consciousness, basically. So all kinds of drugs do that. We have a full list below, but psychoactive plants, mushrooms, things like that. It is pretty, I as far as I can tell, shamans all over the world, not all shamans everywhere use entheogens, but again, all over the world, some of them seem to. I'll say, let's say half. I don't know. Some seem to, some don't. That's, you know, from everything I've read, I haven't read one culture where they're like, but we are strictly against imbibing in any kind of psychoactive drug. Now, that seems to be hand in glove. But the Native American church uses a lot of peyote. That's their main thing. They grow it on their land. They are allowed to do that. That's the very least we could do for them, since we pillaged and raped and took everything from them. Yeah. Somewhere here, and we'll get to it. There entheogens. Here's our list of things that might be used. Of course, I'm going to stop here. Y'all know me. Entheogens, including psilocybin peyote, Amanita muscaria, the Alice in Wonderland mushroom, the uncured tobacco, which is one a lot of people don't know about, cannabis, ayahuasca. I love that the full name for salvia is Salvia divinorum, like the divine or to divine from, because that is how you feel when you take it. Iboga, which I think is ibogaine. What is ibogaine comes from? What is ibogaine comes from is the best English I've spoken all day. I'm going to leave it. And Mexican morning glory. Interestingly, a lot of these things, gosh, I could really go off about ayahuasca in and of itself. I'm not. I'm going to stop there because I, at some point, will end up talking about the cosmic serpent and ayahuasca being combined with MAIO inhibitors, and how the plant told the people how to prepare it. Very interesting stuff. All right, but aside from drugs, it's not just that they do a lot of drugs. They may or may not. There is a lot with drumming and music and chanting, and like songs, and the drums are incredibly important. Like having your own drum, making your own drum and being taught how to make your drum from an elder is a very important part of sitting in the circle. So lots of other things. Oh, here's what I want to point out. Well, I remember now, I'm going to get back to medicine men. Hold on. Shamans perform a variety of functions depending on their respective cultures: healing, leading a sacrifice, preserving traditions by storytelling and songs, fortune telling, acting as a psychopomp or someone who guides the soul, the guider of souls. It's usually translated as. A single shaman may fulfill several of these functions. And it does mention here, even in the Wikipedia page, a little bit about the soul being able to journey through a portal in the sky to the lower world, or the upper world. So, but they don't really go into quite enough detail there, in my opinion, but they give you the idea. And I'm going to say this Wikipedia page is pretty thorough. There are a couple questionable citations, but I looked through the references. I am familiar with quite a few of these books. So, yeah, it's not bad altogether. All right. But so if a shaman is a healer, you might query, to which I'd say, query away, young lass. Is that the same thing as a medicine man? Kind of yes and no. Can a shaman be a medicine man? Yes. Must he or she or they? No. Must a medicine man also be a shaman? No. So I think the best way to put it is, actually, this person said it really well here. This is a book, I guess I should give people credit for their work, because I really ain't trying to plagiarize shit, yo. The Shaman and the Medicine Man. And this person, I think that's a he. You know what? Let's say they, because we don't know. Let's not presume a goddamn thing. That's fucking rude. All right. Here. The shaman is able to differentiate between the shaman as primarily the mediator between the supernatural powers and man, and the medicine man as primarily the curer of diseases through traditional, or I want to say maybe in some case non-traditional techniques. So in other words, remember I said, if a malevolent spirit is having an ill effect on a person, making them sick or crazy, or having menacing a person, a shaman can go in there and travel through the realms with the use of whatever totem animal they need, maybe frog for cleansing. That would be number 38 in the Medicine Tarot deck. I've got them all memorized. I have for years. I've been using that deck for over 20 years. They might call on totem animals to do like a cleansing. They would meet the malevolent spirit, essentially exorcise the spirit from the person, thus freeing them of that ailment, or, helping to cure that cure, in other words, that ailment. But there might be times when a medicine man actually, has to use some good old ethnobotany. What have they got on the land that we left them? What have they got there that, it could be a common, they can use would depend on what the ailment is, any number of herbs. They have medicine men usually have extensive knowledge of herbs and with curative properties and how to correctly use them. Also, I want to point out that in the case of a sweat or like a gathering, I guess a meeting or a sweat, the medicine man, the people there in the sweat have different roles. And I know this because I have a very good friend who's actually a member of the Native American Church. And so I know that they have roles like you have a fireman, you have a gatekeeper, you have the journeyman, and you have the medicine man who is going to prepare and distribute the peyote. So in that context, medicine man is just doing that one thing. What else? Where did my main page go? I think I lost it, but what am I so afraid of? I think I closed it out. At any rate, shamans are usually, traditionally were men. But now we can also see that they have included women, men, and transgendered individuals of every age. I think that this is one really amazing thing about the Native American culture, at least that I know here in North America. They're very accepting of different gender expressions, although that's a touchy subject too, because a lot of them are actually Christians as well. And so sometimes there can be conflict of interest there depending, but by and large. So I seem to have lost my main page. Oh, here it is. I did not lose anything. It was with me all the time. What lessons we're learning on this incredible journey. Again, Paleolithic period. Shamanism is old, y'all. It's really old. It's not, it really predates. We don't even know how much it predates Paleolithic. Well, that would be, that would be all of civilization that it predates. So, what did I want to say here? Yeah, they talk a little bit here about, I wanted to mention this too. They do say here that entheogens are typically used, but there's also this idea of entering into an ecstatic trance, and that can be a lot like Sundance, when they're just dancing and dancing for days. They go into a trance, or auto-hypnotically, which is interesting. Yeah, I mean, self-hypnosis, stuff like that. All right, what else do I want to say? The drums, the rolls, the spiritual world, the spirit guides, fortune-telling, psychopumping, ecology, economics. I'm not going to talk about most of this right now. Paleolithic, creating all organized religions. And certainly as early as the Neolithic period, there's again some discrepancy exactly when things are not written down. A lot of this, was not actually, committed to any kind of writing. So it's really, it's hard to you can't really date something. I did not mean to do that. In cultures that don't write things. What the fuck, computer? Are you gonna fucking fuck with me like that? I'm gonna fuck you up. I am bigger than you. I will pick you up and throw you out this fucking window. Hi. Yes, so in unwritten cultures, it is, you know, a little bit of a guessing game. But one more thing I wanted to point out right here was that and I thought this was really cool. In November 2008, researchers from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem announced that a discovery of a 12,000-year-old site in Israel was perceived as one of the earliest known shaman burials, and it was a woman. So right on. Back to the matriarchy. An elderly woman was arranged on her side. Her legs and knees were folded a certain way. She had large stones placed over the head, pelvis, and arms. And then she had 50 complete tortoise shells, a human foot, and certain body parts from animals such as a cow tail and eagle wings. Other animal remains came from a boar, leopard, and two. I don't know what a marten is. It seems that the woman was perceived as being in a close relationship with these animal spirits. And yeah, I think that that's really cool. So this was around these would have been buried around the Paleolithic period again. So very, very cool. Hold on, we got to look this up. Do you guys want to know what a marten is? I got to know. What? Not Doc Martens. No. What? Here we go. It's like a weasel. Oh, okay. Oh, cutie patootie. It's like a bat weasel. I want to kiss it. Probably just fucking bite my face off. That would be funny. Okay. So, let's see. I explained the difference between medicine man, shamans, yellow, black, Siberian, shamans, connection to Buddhism. I think we covered shamanism as much as I want to in connection with The Exorcist right now. It's a very small part of many things a shaman is said to be capable of doing, but a very important one, I wager, nonetheless. All right, Witches, thank you for joining me again. You've been down with me, Anarchy. This is Maidens and Magick. That was my my preliminary assessment of The Exorcist, the theory, or the series, the theory. I like the theory of exorcism, and also an homage to Geena Davis, who is an Amazon warrior for sure. I'm convinced. That was fun. Thank you for indulging my 30-minute talk on shamanism, which really only scratched the surface. And it's such a rich area that it is something that we will revisit. But until then, you be good, be awesome, be healthy, and most of all, stay witchy.